Hey everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today I have a 2011 Keystone Cougar Fifth Wheel. I'm going to walk through how to install Solera's 151-inch slide topper. In this video we're going to show you a few things. We're going to show you how to install it. We're going to talk about how to measure to get the correct size for your size box and why a slide topper is important. Slide topper is important because obviously it's going to cover the top of your box. If you don't have it, you go camping somewhere that has a lot of sticks, a lot of leaves, anything like that, they could collect up there. If you don't get up and clean it off, it creates mildew, mold on the top of your box. When you go to slide your box back in, where's all that mold and mildew go? Say you're going to put it in storage, you didn't clean it off, you got mold and mildew on the top, slide your box in, now it's sitting inside your camper while you have it in storage for 3 months to 6 months to however long you're going to leave it in storage. Putting the slide topper on there, it's going to save you a lot of trouble and a lot of time later on. You're not going to have to get up there and clean it off. You're not going to have rain pulling up on top. It's going to keep everything nice and neat on top of that box. A couple other benefits to adding a slide topper. One, it's going to keep the inside of the box much cooler because now you've added a shade over the top of your box. Two, when it does rain, it's going to keep it much quieter because the rain is not hitting the top of the box, it's hitting the awning. Having the awning pitched, you're going to allow that rainwater to run off, again, instead of allowing the rainwater to pool up on top of your box. Now I mentioned pitch. We want our awning to be pitched because we want the rainwater to run off it. We don't want our awning flat because then it pulls up on there and it'll stretch the fabric. The brackets here give you two different levels of pitch. There's 4 different slots on here that allow you to raise this roller up a little bit, or the top ones will allow you to lower this to give it a little bit more pitch. However you install it, you want more pitch or less pitch, you just got to make sure that the awning fabric, when you have it rolled out, does not touch the top of the T-molding. If it does, you need to raise this bracket. As far as the fabric goes, it's going to be a durable vinyl fabric. It's going to hold up in all weather conditions, whether hot or cold. As far as maintenance goes, you really don't have any. Wipe it down if you want. The cleaner you keep it, the longer it's going to last for you. It's going to come in black or white with matching hardware. As far as measurements go, getting the correct size slide topper for your box is probably the most important thing. To measure, you're going to measure from the outside edge of one end to the outside edge of the other. Go to the website. You don't even need to put in the year, make, model of the camper, just the size. RV and camper, you're going to go to slide toppers. On the left-hand side, you're going to have sizes. Put in the measurement in inches that you have, and that'll be the size slide topper you need. One thing to keep in mind, if you have a box that is next to another box, maybe you have 2 boxes right next to each other, or maybe you have an awning next to your box, you need to have at least 7 inches from here to whatever's on that wall. If it's an awning arm, you need 7 inches between here and that awning arm, or 7 inches between here in that box, because of how far the end sticks out on the rail. Having that 7 inches is very important. As I mentioned, awning rail or slide box. If you have an awning rail that is not 7 inches from the side of your box, you're going to have to go down a size on the box itself. So when you look up the size box you have, find the lowest number, you're going to go to the next size down. If you have a slide box and you're putting a slide topper on both, and you only have 7-inch gap between those 2 boxes, you're going to have to go down one size on one of the boxes. As far as the installation process, it's going to be the same no matter what size box you have or what size slide topper you have. The process itself is pretty simple and straightforward. You can do it at your house, you can do it in the street, you can do it in the parking lot. You're going to need a couple extra set of hands when you go to put the awning in place, but the rest of it can be done by yourself. If it's something that you may not have the time or space to do, I encourage you, look at our dealer locator, find someone near you that will be able to put it in for you. If you want to give it a shot, put it in yourself. I promise you, you can do it. Follow along with me and I'll walk you through step by step. To start your installation, you want to pull out all of your hardware, your brackets. You're going to get 2 brackets that look like this. We're going to flip them upside down. There's 2 sides, flip them upside down. We're going to take butyl tape and we want to cover these holes. Butyl tape does not come with the kit. So you want to make sure if you order an awning, you order the butyl tape with it. You're going to do this with both brackets. Peel off the paper. You need a square head bit and 5 of these for each bracket. You're going to have two brackets. We're going to take our bracket. You're going to have a edge that's tapered and an edge that's straight. You want the straight edge up, go against the T-molding and all the way up to the top corner. We're going to go up like that, push it in place, take your 5 flathead screws, and secure your bracket to the wall. Now the butyl tape on the back, what it's doing is as you drive the screw through it, the butyl tape is wrapping around these threads and it's pulling it into the hole. It's going to help keep water from getting in that hole. Next, if you don't have one, it's going to come in your kit, and it's called an extrusion rail. It's a railing that goes on your wall that holds the fabric to the wall. This is just a gutter. It does not have the extrusion rail in it. So what we want to try to do is not have to remove this, because then you'll have holes all the way down your wall that you're going to have to fill. We need to make sure when we install the extrusion rail that it's at least 3 inches at minimum, up to 6 inches above this T-molding. The top of this rail is actually 4 1/4. So we're good. What we can do is we can take our extrusion rail, set it right on top of this one, and install it and screw it right in. Your extrusion rail is going to look like this. You see this slot right here. You look on your wall, some gutters will have these, some of them will not. Ours does not, so we're going to have to install this. So we're going to flip it over. Along this edge, just like we did the other brackets, we want to install butyl tape. We're just going to go from one end to the other. Next, we're going to get an extra set of hands, and we're going to install this rail just like this on top of the other one. All right, with our extra set of hands, we'll line it up above this other rail. I would not suggest sticking it through the wall until you get it lined up where you want it, because then you'll mess up the butyl tape that's on there. Once you get it where you want it, go ahead and press that butyl tape in place. That railing against that wall, it'll hold the railing in while we get our screws to hold it in place permanently. Now we're going to take these white square bit button head screws to secure that railing to the wall. When you go to put this rail up, determine which side you're going to slide your awning on. On the opposite end, this rail right here kind of comes down past it, so it's going to be difficult to get it in on that end. So we're going to be doing it on this end. Take a pair of needle nose pliers or a screwdriver, and the very end of it, you want to take the corners, bend one up and bend one down, so that when we slide that rail or that awning in place, the corners don't catch on the fabric and tear it. Next, we're going to take this rod. It's going to have a hole in the end. You're going to flip your awning over. On the bottom side, there's going to be another hole. large Phillip head self-tapper. Slide it in, line up the 2 holes, and we're going to drive that screw in. We're going to do that same thing on the opposite end. So now with the next set of hands, we're going to slide our awning into the end of the extrusion rail that we opened up. Suggestions: have 3 people, 1 at each end, 1 to hold the awning at the one end while you're feeding it in, the other one at the other end so you can catch it when you get past where you're able to hold it up. Unroll it 1 turn to give you a little extra slack. On the back of this, you're going to have 4 slots that allows you to raise this or lower it. We're going to use the lowest 2, which will push our awning up just a little. Slide it on and on the bracket that we installed on the wall at the same time. So now what we want to do is you take your hand, push it down on your fabric like this. We want to look at how much is sticking out past the edge of the T-molding. We want to try to match that as much as possible on the opposite end so that we're even both ways. Next, we're going to take these little small Allen head screws that have some Loctite on them. And you'll notice 4 holes on the front of this bracket. Whatever slots you use, you're going to put them in those 2 holes. Since we used the lower 2, we're going to put them in the bottom 2 holes. What this is going to do is going to keep this bracket from sliding on the bracket that we have attached to the wall. We need to do that on both ends. We're going to have some self-tappers. Take a 5/16 bit. We're going to drive them up through these 2 holes into this rail. That's going to keep our awning from sliding back and forth. You have these little covers to go over those screws. I will say these are pretty tight, so you might want a soft blow hammer to help tap that into place. You're going to have 1 for each side. Once you get that on, you're going to have a clip right here on the end, on both sides. You want to make sure you pull this out before you slide your box out. Grab your box or your awning, pair of pliers, spin it to where that loosens up. We're going to grab it and slide it out. Now when you take out the other one, there's going to be tension on this spring, so don't just let it go because it's going to roll up real fast. Once you get your pins pulled out of each end of your roller, make sure your trailer is level, slide your box out, slide it back in and out a couple of times, and make sure that your awning is rolling up straight. If you're getting any wrinkles in it, if you roll it in to where the wrinkles start, take your roller and twist it just a little to take the tension off the spring, and right up in the corner on either end with the tension off, you're going to either push the awning, the fabric in a little bit, or pull it out. That'll help take some of that tension off of it pulling one way or the other. Once you've rolled your fabric or your awning in and out a couple times, made any adjustments you need to, if you had to. You have a couple little self-tappers like this, 1/4 inch drive, right at the top of the extrusion rail where the awning slides in, or the bead slides in, 1.5 inches over from the edge of the fabric. You're going to drive it through the extrusion rail, through this little bead in the awning. That's going to keep the awning from sliding back and forth inside the rail. Once you've done that last step, you're going to repeat that installation process on any size slide topper you're putting on your camper. It's going to do it for a look at in installation of the Solera 151-inch slide topper on a 2011 Keystone Cougar.